Hello everyone, it's that time again, card reveal time. Let's see what the hell we're going to be getting tonight. Obviously, so much excitement from all the region cards that we got last night, like so many different ideas were going through my head. Hopefully we'll be seeing a champion tonight, but we don't know. Let's get in and see the new cards! Okay, so it looks like we're just going to be getting cards for Bilgewater, which is obviously like leading us into who the next champion is going to be. Because we got a bit of a follow-up, I think, before we saw Rek'Sai, so this is going to be the follow-up. So I'm assuming potentially tomorrow we might be seeing old Pyke himself, but let's just get in. It might just be a double, it might be a double bluff, but we've got Bilgewater cards, and as expected, Bilgewater is getting more lurk synergy. So we've got the first one, which is a 2 mana lurker, which is a 1/2, which obviously bear in mind those stats will be going up. It's got lurk, play, grant an enemy vulnerable. So yet again, more vulnerable, like, because throughout everything, people have been like saying, like, bear in mind, let's go back ages ago. People were saying that they thought that Pyke was going to have something to do with vulnerable. Like, when the vulnerable mechanic came out, they're like, oh, well, Pyke's going to have something to do with vulnerable. So this is kind of leading potential credence to that fact that maybe Pyke does have something to do with vulnerable as well as lurk. Like, everyone's now saying, obviously, Pyke's going to be a lurker, but maybe his level up condition has got something to do with vulnerable in terms of, like, I've seen you make so many people vulnerable, or I've killed, we'll find out when we see what Pyke's going to be. Let's just get into these cards and stop talking bollocks. So I said 2 mana, which the first one was the one mana, which started off with 0 but gives you a free attack. So this one's just whenever you play it, it grants an enemy vulnerable. And granting means that it's going to be permanent, like, because obviously you get some vulnerables which aren't permanent, but this one permanent. We then go into the, which is like a 1 mana burst speed spell for Bilgewater called Bloodbait, which is create a, so that's the card, isn't it? That's the card which is the free attack card. So not only can you have 3 copies of that free attack, of that 1 cost, give you a free attack upon play, but also you can add more of them into your deck with this burst speed card, and it is putting it on top of your deck, which is important because they are lurkers, and so therefore once you attack forward, it's going to be like buffing all the other lurkers in your deck, meaning that free attack is actually going to be good. This is actually a really good card to work with lurkers, like, in terms of the fact that this is actually putting a card which is already going to be a lurker directly on top of your deck, and it's only 1 mana. Plus, when you draw that card next turn, it does give you a free attack off of that card, which, depending on how many times you've lurked, that could be quite a big card, which forces your opponent to have to defend before, like, on their attack turn, it forces them to have to defend that. So actually, a really nice card in Bloodbait. Let's go on to the next one, which is a 0 mana card, which I think... No, warning shot. I was going to say, is that the first 0? Like, there's still some regions which don't have 0 cost cards, right? But there's like, but Bilgewater does have warning shots. Let's go in the list, which is grant an enemy vulnerable. If it's already vulnerable, the strongest ally starts a free attack. That's quite devastating. Because not only is that synergy with just like, what we've been seeing now, the fact that we're getting these lurkers which are going to be having vulnerable, and not only that, it's also mean that starting a free attack with the strongest challenging, meaning that if you were using Rek'Sai and Rek'Sai was on 10 but it was your opponent's attack turn, if you'd made something vulnerable and then used this card, Rek'Sai attacks forward, doing a free attack challenging. So basically the same thing that Catastrophe does, it starts a free attack, and so therefore this means that you will level Rek'Sai in that move if you were to go with it and do this move. But what also means is that this also works with, say, Renekton. Renekton would love a card such as this, because it's meaning that, boom, he's immediately going in and so potentially like some kind of weird Renekton Bilgewater card becoming a thing. This also works with Vi. If you've got Vi leveled up, that free attack is going to be helping you out with Vi. And also, obviously, this will be helping you out if you were going to make a Java the 4th Bilgewater deck, which, like, didn't even enter my mind to begin with, but there's still the potential of doing so, right? As well as this might make the Undying list, because there was a Bilgewater Undying list before, which was all about making things vulnerable and letting the Undying attack them. So this would enter a free attack, which by that time the Undying will be the biggest, you'd assume, when using this. So there's actually a few different things this card actually makes possible. So it's well worth this card can see play a number of different decks. It is slow speed, but it is 0 cost and is forcing out yet again a free attack, which on top of something like Renekton, which has already got Overwhelm, is devastating. Or I said with Vi or Rek'Sai, to be able to level her up and then boom, just let that attack go forward, because it'd be an attack being that she's buffing all the lurkers anyway, and if there's a lurker on top of the deck, you're getting that double buff. So really aggressive thing here. So I'm actually so far these cards are already looking magnificent, and we haven't even seen what Pyke does yet. So I can't wait to see Pyke. But let's go into the next card, which is a 1-mana. So a new landmark for Bilgewater, which is Rippertides, or Ripper Bay, Ripper's Bay. When allies attack, discard the top card of your deck if it doesn't have lurk. So when allies attack, discard the top card of your deck. So this potential, the way that I'm reading this, now I might be wrong, but the way that I'm reading this is that it will make it so that, say that you have in your deck whatever the hell, and you attack forward with this, it's looking like it's gonna, if the next card's not a lurker, get rid of it, and hopefully if the card underneath, because obviously the next card might not be a lurker as well, but if it is a lurker, you should get the lurker buff. That's the way that I'm reading this. It's when you do an attack and the lurker's on top of your deck. So potentially removing that out of the way to try to get a lurk, which if you've put a bunch of lurkers into your deck, there's the more chance of hitting that. That's the way that I see this landmark hopefully working. I hope that doesn't do that you attack forward, but the lurker's not on top of your deck, and then this throws it away, and then you don't get the buff. What I'm trying to say is this is useful if after it discards the card, you get the buff for the lurkers after, if there's a lurker on top of your card, on top of your deck, attacking and the attack is happening. That's why I want to know how that interaction works, otherwise it's not really worthwhile. But if that is such, and it does give you the buff, getting rid of a card, putting even lurkers on top of your deck, then you get the buff, that is actually not a bad card to have, because especially if you're going deep in on the lurk mechanic, it's not a bad thing at all. We also have got so I was also going to say for this one, I guess it is discarding a card as well. It doesn't toss a card, so there's no synergy with what's his face? Oh, Tree Man. I was wondering whether it was going to be a Tree Man, Malachi, what's his face? Why is a Pyke deck? But it's not looking. If that said toss, I would say there's a slight chance, but it's very unlikely. But it still is a very interesting landmark in what it does. And so I really want to know. I want to know how that interaction happens. So let's see. And we've got the final lurker, which is yet again another 1-cost lurker. Because so basically, you're almost having to pair Bilgewater with shurima if you're going deep in on the lurk mechanics, because shurima's got a lot more of the higher end costy ones, the ones with Overwhelm and Bilgewater's got the more low costy ones. So it is a weird mesh between them, but potentially could make a good curve if you've got enough low cost ones from Bilgewater and enough high cost ones, especially with the ones with Overwhelm, or the ones that can gain Overwhelm and Fearsome and Spell Shield from attacking forward. So actually some really nice cards here, I do like the fact that they don't have a 1 on the health stat, because obviously having a 1 on the health stat makes them a lot more vulnerable to a lot more spells. I'm not saying that these aren't vulnerable to spells. Obviously Mystic Shots and such can still kill these, but it puts them out of the way of Vile Feast and Unspeakable Horror, and a lot of cards like that, or Withering Wail. So it's nice to see that, because it means that it is forcing your opponent most of the time to deal with the increased stats that they will be racking up if you go deep on this lurk mechanic. So yet again, some really good cards. Those are my thoughts, but I I want to know your thoughts on these cards, so let me know down in the comment section down below, as well as obviously shameless plug time, Twitch, Twitter and Instagram. If you didn't know already, I do stream on Twitch on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, as well as there is the Discord link down below where you can get in there and talk about all these new cards, as well as like your different deck concepts that you're coming up with as new cards are being revealed and whatnot. I said these magnificent for this. I can't wait to see Pyke, but I can't wait to see Echo either. Echo's the one I'm more excited for because I do really love PNZ and what PNZ can do, but I'm really excited for Pyke seeing these cards. So hope that you have a great... Oh shit, if you've not already hit that subscribe button and you enjoyed yourself, why not consider it, but do not feel forced to. Hope you have a great day, and until next time, bye!
Flash of brilliance that could save me. Save me! That doesn't save me. Okay. Is there anything from you? Save me. That doesn't save me! Okay. Get rid of this and get rid of this. Find something that can save me.